up a few thousand degrees with a Lava Hot podcast and host Joseph Connell Jr. You'll hear from ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things, from tech startup CEOs and marketing professionals to authors, investors, and sales trainers. This show will be packed with information to help you level up in life or business, taking you from on fire up to lava hot. Get ready to burn this down.
Welcome to the Lava Hot Podcast. Today I have with me an incredible individual that has been dominating the car industry locally on the Eastern Shore. From what I just gathered, I thought it was since 2019, 20, and 21, but he has actually been killing it as the Salesman of the Year for the last 7 years with the Pohanka Auto Group. Just came off of a phenomenal year where you sold 600 vehicles.
Absolutely.
Which is insane. Yeah. So I've got with me Mr. 600, Cedric Armwood.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's nice to be here today, man. Not only just to, talk and have this conversation, but to have it with somebody I know from the past, known for a very long time, nice person, all around. It's good to be here, man.
Yep, absolutely. So I want to definitely dive into that. Mm-hmm. 600 cars. I did the math, just some simple numbers. I was curious, 600 cars. I looked at the average car sale in America is about 29,000. And when I ran that numbers, it was over 17 million.
Yeah.
When I asked you to pull the numbers for me, I'm not surprised that you didn't come in with some average type numbers.
Yeah, absolutely.
What did you hit in 2021?
I actually had to pull it back up on my phone because I know I sent it to you. I was on the computer trying to rush out the door. It's $26,482,293.03.
Yeah, that's some sales volume. That's some crazy sales volume. So I mean, there's individuals in the housing market in 2021. Yeah, and we've seen what housing has done, where it's just skyrocketing for people that aren't even hitting that selling houses. You're definitely running things.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But before we go to you going to 600 cars in 1 year, I want to go, at the very beginning, because a lot of people see the success of an individual, but they don't see kind of that come up. And what I want to do is go back to where I first met you, which was in an office right over the corner here.
Across the street.
You were, at that time, you were helping families. You were selling life events, legal plans. And I know that was something you were working pretty diligently. And I want to start there, and then what, kind of led you to the car industry. And, I want to dive into some of the keys to success, if you will, that you've had there.
So starting off, let's say back at Legal Shield, I started with my buddy Nathan Borman, which I actually heard he was on your show a few weeks ago. Pretty awesome guy himself too. But I was at a gas station, and just a normal guy. I was working at McDonald's. I was a manager at McDonald's. I was on my way to work, pumping gas, and this guy walks up to me with a DVD, and I'm thinking like, oh, one of them guys, type thing. Yeah. So he walks up to me with the DVD, and I say, he said, "Hey, man, my name's Nate. Nice to meet you." And he shook my hand, and I rushed back, shook his hand, which is pretty normal. And I'm going to dig into it, but I didn't even realize he was actually already teaching me something without teaching me.
Yep.
But so I shook his hand. He handed me a DVD. I explained to him, I'm on my way to work. Don't really got time to talk about it right now. But he said, well, you got a few minutes drive to work, right? He's like, where do you work at? I said, Delmar. He said, yeah, it's probably like 7 minutes. You have time to listen to the whole CD. So I listened to it on my way to work. As soon as I got out of the car where I called him and said, so is this for real? I'm looking at what I'm making and like how much time I'm spending. Like, is this for real? And eventually I dove into it with Nathan, and we got started. Legal Shield hit the ground running. Had some really awesome success there. And as you know, because we both did Legal Shield, you got your associate, senior associate, manager, executive director. When you're trying to make that run to ED, executive director, I learned so much over that time. I learned so much about things I wasn't even focused on. The books you read, the motivational speeches that you hear over time, the stories that help get you. Because sometimes in life you get stuck in this place where you don't know if you actually can get there because you haven't seen it done. But the way I think about anything when it comes to success, if you've seen it done before, it's actually possible.
Yep.
Somebody's already did it. Not that you can get the exact roadmap, but somebody's already did it. But, got into Legal Shield, hit director. Like I said, had some really, really good success there. I always share with people, looking back at Legal Shield, I attribute 100% of my success as far as sales and learning how to talk to people and how to actually, cold calls and talking to people that you're not used to talking to. I attribute that to them because
I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I look back at those days and realize that shaped my philosophies.
Yeah, definitely.
That shapes your attitude,
Yeah.
which will shape what you do, and it will shape your results
Oh,
at the end of the day.
Definitely. The path I was going down before Legal Shield, and not that McDonald's management isn't a bad path. I learned some strong stuff there as well, how to manage a crew and work as a team and stuff like that. But with Legal Shield, it was like it's almost like a tree. When you're growing a tree, you grow the tree, you put your seed in the ground, and the tree grows, and over time it grows branches. With Legal Shield, I feel like I just had a bunch of branches, and every time I went to another meeting or another conference, I got an extra branch. And when the leaves started coming, man,
Yeah.
you talk about success. It was nice, man. It was
Yeah, and some of the things that you'll learn, aside from the sales, you also learn, how to create a team, how to build culture, how to, communicate with an individual,
absolutely.
how to present a product, how to have posture. I often say for individuals that might even look at those type of opportunities and just
push it off.
Yeah, just push it off. They miss the opportunity just on what they could learn. And for me,
Exactly.
the saying is, it's not about what you earn, it's about what you become. And that was always the thing for me. Those companies, the secret of those companies is that they're personal development companies.
Yes.
That have products with them.
Yep.
And
that's exactly
people
what it was.
often overlook that aspect of it, and then you get to carry that with you.
Yeah.
To the next thing that you journey to. So from Legal Shield, tell me where you went from there.
For Legal Shield, I got in a rut, got in a place where like I didn't want to do it no more, didn't feel like doing it, and I actually went out and got another job. I got a job at Sears, and I was a manager at Sears. I actually started off in the receiving department. I started off in the receiving department, unloading the trucks. Over time, I learned so much with Sears, just things, asking questions, what you need to get to get to the next level. I was just setting it up the whole time to the point where I became a manager at Sears. I was the stockroom manager, hardlines manager, to the point where I became the assistant store manager at the oil change department. And God knows I didn't know nothing about a car back then. Not saying I know everything now, but Sears taught me a few things. Because Sears broke me at one point in time, as I was a manager at Sears, and I had my red Chrysler 300. I got when I was in Legal Shield, and I remember the day I walked over.
I remember that 300.
That was my baby. That was my baby, and we're on here, so I'm gonna share some stories that I never even probably shared before. But I was working at Sears as an assistant manager, and the guy calls me over, the store manager of the whole store, and he says, "We need to talk about something." Mind you, I went over to be the assistant manager maybe 30 days in, and my store manager quit over at the auto center, so it's just me. So he says, "I need to talk to you about something." We sit down and talk. Evidently, I run the oil change up and reversed the money to the customer the wrong way. I was fired over $14.27.
Wow. Yeah.
$14.27. And I got to try to explain to the guy, I really didn't know. Like, I don't have nobody here. Like, I'm just doing the best I can with it from what you gave me from the get-go. So, I lost my job at Sears, and I remember walking across the parking lot to my house, because at time of Sears, I was living in apartments, Runaway Bay. I walked across that field, and as I was walking across the parking lot, Sears gave me a lanyard, all these badges and stuff. I threw it backwards, and you say, "You know what? I'm not even gonna look back." Yep. I'm not even gonna look back. It was. I learned a lot. It hurts. It does hurt. Anytime you lose something, anything in life, it hurts. So I said it hurt, but I'm gonna move forward from this.
Yep.
And when I moved forward from that, I feel like I became the strongest individual that I possibly could have been, because I was sitting in Emmanuel Wesley, the church over here on Beekman Park.
Yep.
And after the service, this is a crazy story about to get. After the service, the pastor, Mark Bunning, said, hey, I'm sorry, let me back up. I was singing service that day, and I went to Mark and I said, I really need some help. Lost my job. I need to get on my feet. And he says, well, you should talk to this guy named Deron Whitehead. I don't know if it's Darren Whitehead or Deron Whitehead. I always mess it up, but Deron Whitehead. And so I see Deron over there with his family after church, and I'm like, I don't need that guy. I'll be all right. I'll figure it out myself type thing. So I left church that day, just like whatever, fill out some more applications. It'll happen. The following week, nothing happened. I'm going through the week like stressed, depressed, worried, everything you possibly could be. So I'm going through that whole phase, and I get to Sunday school, and the Sunday school teacher says, before you leave, turn around and introduce yourself to somebody. And he says, turns around, the guy in front of me, hey, I'm Deron Whitehead. If you ever need anything, give me a call. I said, that's God. I can't ignore that. You can ignore a lot, but you can't ignore God. So I said, that's God. And I said, you know what? I do need to talk to you. I was like, I was supposed to talk to you a week ago. I'm clean about it. I was supposed to talk to you a week ago. I didn't. Kind of got in my head with some things, but I do need to talk to you. We sat down at the pretzel place over on Mount Herman Road. I think it's a pretzel place, coffee shop, whatever, on Mount Herman Road. And he introduced me to a guy named Ed Wilkes, owns a car store. Mm-hmm. So let's be real. If you own the car store, right, and you send me to the car store like, hey, this guy's coming in, talk to him, he just needs a job. You think you're going to guarantee get the job. Like, you got the job. It's over. Ain't no question.
For sure.
You in the interview calling your mom, hey, I got the job. You ain't got it yet. But so I sit down with Brian Purdue and Rob Brown, two gentlemen that were managers back then at that time in the store. And I didn't get the job. And I called Ed as I'm leaving there like, hey, I appreciate you sending me there. But I guess they don't need nobody right now. So Ed says, you know what? Meet me at my finance company on Monday morning. And this is where it gets real. Because anybody knows it's a couple of things that goes into actually buying a car. And one of the number one things is finance.
Yeah.
If the financing ain't there, most of the time you're not going to buy the car because either you can't buy the car or the numbers don't add up to what you want them to be. Mm-hmm. So I met Ed at a finance company sitting in the lobby reading a book from Legal Shield, The Business of the 21st Century.
Yeah. Robert Kiyosaki book, right?
Yes. And I was sitting there and I was saying, man, am I gonna get this job? I'm not super excited like I was at the car store. I felt like I knew it. So I go in and we go in the back and we sit down and talk. And I thought he was gonna interview me. He didn't even interview me. He said, "What's that book about?" And I told him it's the business of the 21st century. Everything's gonna convert from this brick and mortar and paper to online and stuff like that. It's gonna be a shift. And he said, "Oh," I told him more about the book. And, eventually I got hired. I left there. I went home super excited, got started with the company. I'm talking maybe a year and a half with the company now. I created an online business for them that grew revenue also. So I got a good position in the company. Everything's looking good. I meet Ed again. He says, hey, let's go to lunch. He takes me to Red Lobster. I get a promotion, and they tell me that you got promoted. This is what you're doing. Pack your office up, and it's going to get better for you. So I take the job, I take the promotion, and it comes to find out over the weekend some laws have shifted in Delaware, and certain positions required as a loan officer, you wasn't needed anymore. The position I got that Friday disappeared just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had two options. You can go sell cars, you can sell insurance. I'm like, well, that's full circle. Yep. So I was upset. I left there heated. It gets even deeper. I left there heated. I didn't even take the job at the finance company or the car store. Yep. I came to Pohanka in 2014 and took the job at Pohanka.
Yep.
I'm at Old Mill over the weekend celebrating new job. Everything's gonna be good. And I see Greg that owns the car store also. And we sit down and talk. I love Greg to this day. That guy is a good guy. I respect him differently. Him and Ed, I got so much respect for them. So I love those guys. But I see Greg and we talk, and I obviously go to the car store after I just got hired at Pohanka. Signed the paperwork at Pohanka and everything, and ready to start the job. But I wound up taking the job at the car store because I ran into Greg. So I take the job at the car store. I did really well there, set a record of 34 cars a month there, and everything was well there. But what I was seeing at the car store that I was missing is when a customer buys a vehicle, in some cases you have what you call negative equity. Mm-hmm. And when you have negative equity, you can't transfer that from a used car to a used car. You got to transfer it from a used car to a new car unless you're putting a chunk down to cover the difference of the loan to value. Loan to value is simply how much money is the bank going to loan you based off the value of this car.
Right.
So the whole thing at the car store, the not being able to roll a customer from a used car to a new car, I was losing customers. Customers going right down the street at Pohanka buying cars, and I just couldn't grow from there. You know what I mean? So it was a good place, good starting point. But I came over to Pohanka. Obviously, I've grown really well there, and I've just enjoyed the ride like so much better because it's just been relaxing. You know, I got to the point now where I'm selling about 55 cars a month. I have an assistant there, me and Colin. He works really well for me. Kid that goes to Salisbury University. Yep. I'm doing really well, and he's learning the business. He's learning different parts of the business that you typically don't learn. Yep. Because even though we talked about how I started at the finance company, went to the car store, went to Pohanka, when you look back at it, the difference is there's not really another car salesman out there that actually worked in finance before working in a dealership. Yep. So it's not always about just understanding, you know, what's under the hood, how many miles per gallon do you get with the car. It's a whole different world when I can look at the same car you buy today for, let's say, $500 a month and show you exactly how you could have got it for $407 based off of interest, you know, terms of the loan, different things like that. It's a lot of times what I like to do is I like to make sure as a customer that you're very, very comfortable. Yeah. Not just in the seat, but in the budget. Yep. Because that's the only way I'm going to get you to come back and trust me and, you know, and make sure you're where you want to be with it. Because a lot of customers leave a dealership. They buy a car, they leave a dealership. And sometimes the payment's already too high. So it's already a tough situation. But when you put someone in a comfortable situation, a comfortable payment, it allows you to retain the business and allow the customer to keep coming back.
And referrals.
Yeah, referrals. It goes even further. Referrals, that's a whole different leg of the business.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. In a minute, I definitely want to dive into not just the referral side, but how you've managed to create this brand that really it kind of ripples past the dealership, if you will. And Pohanka, obviously, you know, here locally, they're probably, I think they're the top dealership, right? Yeah. I mean, if they got Cedric, they are. So with that, people look for Cedric. They don't, just look for Pohanka is what in my experience. But I'm going to go back real quick just because I want to hit on a few things. Because I think that this is success principle number one that I'm going to extract from Cedric from this interview is if we go all the way back to McDonald's, you even said that there was opportunity there. There was opportunity in Legal Shield. There was opportunity in Sears, all the way down the line. Not once did you look at any one of those career choices and think there was an opportunity. You found opportunity within every single spot, whether it was managing a McDonald's all the way up to, where you are now.
Yes.
The other thing that I think is interesting, the setback of being fired over $14 then led to you going to a point where last year you sold 26 million plus in vehicles. I'm willing to bet if we collectively look at your career in cars, you're probably over 100 million.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, 7 years. I mean, if you've been averaging 600 cars a year with, roughly that same.
You got me wondering now.
Yeah, right. I always look at those numbers, but yeah, I mean, 26 million just in 1 year. I mean, that's over 26. That's insane.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I was impressed at 17, but then for it to go to 26 was just crazy. But so now I want to go back to where we just were, where you're talking about how, you do right by the customer. That creates a consistent customer because every time they need to, upgrade their vehicle or get a vehicle for their child, they're coming back to see Cedric. But also, how have you, and I've seen what you've done online, when it comes to your social media presence, working, with Maurice, the brand, video content over the last couple of years. How has that impacted the business? Oh,
very strong, man. I feel like anytime you're actually doing anything marketing, it has to be catchy. People got to see it. It has to be catchy, and you got to make somebody wondering what is that. So when I came up with the slogan, "Forget your credit, just call Cedric." Actually, let me back up. My cousin Troy, I'm at work one night at the car store, and he says, he was like, "You got that deal approved?" That boy said, "Forget your credit, just call Cedric." I was like, whoa.
That's going everywhere.
I was like, what is he saying?
Yep.
So, he came up with that slogan, and that slogan has just been like something. Actually, I'm gonna throw it out there completely how I feel about it. Anytime you're looking at marketing, I felt like Michael Jordan. I don't believe that a child at the age 4 years old don't know what a Michael Jordan logo is.
Right.
At this point, if a parent actually shows them what Jordan is, they actually remember it. I say I want to be the Michael Jordan logo of the Eastern Shore. Yeah. That's all I want to be. I say, you know what? It would be nice to be the whole country, but let's focus on the Eastern Shore. How can I become the Michael Jordan of the Eastern Shore? And I was walking through the mall one day, and I was going past all the stores, and every single store that actually sells like that type of gear, like you see Michael Jordan when you walk past.
Yeah.
It. So I was like, how can I make it so everyone sees Michael Jordan everywhere they go on the Eastern Shore of Maryland? Yep. So the number one thing I did is I took the logo and I started making a T-shirt. And back then I was only buying like 4 or 5 T-shirts, and the T-shirts were very expensive. But at the time, I seen it as an investment because that investment, I could take that same T-shirt and throw it in your basement, and 10 years from now you find it. It's like, whoa, what's that? You know what I mean?
Yep.
That investment is something that's going to stick no matter where it goes. So when I started printing T-shirts, and to the point where I put it on a billboard, and I actually try to go on TV with it. I try to do so many different things with it that it would actually be what I was trying to make it be. I just wanted it seen. I wanted you to see that and say, man, that's that guy that sells cars.
Yep.
That's all I was asking for.
Yep. Yeah. Grant says, Grant Cardone, as you know, I'm a big follower of his. He says, best known will always beat the best.
Yeah.
And it's so true, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, in so many, categories, it ends up being whoever the best known is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So I want to go a little bit further into the actual slogan itself, because there's some story behind the actual story as well, like what you do for individuals to help them, when they start off with bad credit.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Yeah, so to forget your credit, just call Cedric, because any customer, I don't care where you're at today, 3 repos, 5 repos, 10 repos. I'm not saying I can sell you a car right now, but I want you to forget your credit and just call Cedric, because I want to give you the roadmap. I want to show you exactly what you have to do to actually not obtain just the car today, but the credit you want in the future. See, a lot of times when you leave a dealership, yes, you leave with the car with the high interest rates, as I stated. But the question is, how do you get the low interest rate? Because the lower the interest rate, the more affordable of the car you can afford to make it the car you really want it to be. So to forget your credit, just call Cedric. It's not just about buying the car today, but it's about getting you to the point where you can actually get the interest rate you deserve, and even a step beyond that. Yep. I always talk to people about, do you ever want to own a home? Because being honest with you, when my credit score was a 402 at the car store, and I keep saying car store because I'm thinking timeline 2014.
Yeah.
My credit score was a 402. And I say, you know what? I went in with the manager. I said, I need to get a car. I finally got my first paycheck. Like, that's the first thing you do as a car salesman. You get a car because you got to be able to get back and forth to work. And I got the car, and I think I had to put down like $2,500. And that time it was a 2006 Nissan Maxima with 156,000 miles on it at the time of purchase. Is because of what my credit will allow me to get. I was thinking like, man, I can't even finance a pack of gum. It was really bad. I bought the car, and telling you, I left the car store. I got the Popeyes. The car broke down. It was in the shop for 2 weeks. And it's just a long story. But anyway, the forget your credit, just call Cedric, is simply to allow me to walk you through the steps of where your credit is now and where you either want it to be or where I can show you where to get it to. Because credit, it's everything.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, especially in that type of business, for sure. Yep. So I want to know, what's next. I know 600 cars was a big goal.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that you've probably set the bar a little bit higher. Am I correct in that?
I'm gonna be honest, man. It's the first year ever that I haven't set a goal yet. And normally I set the goal before the end of the year, but I said, you know what? This is the first year. That's a lot of changing for me. I worked 6 days a week forever.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean, I work shorter shifts because I only work by appointment only at this time. So if you just walk into a dealership and, you're looking to buy a car, most times with me, I work by appointment only, so it's shorter shifts. But taking that extra day off, I have a daughter now. that's going to be a lot. I just want to be able to do stuff with her on Fridays or actually enjoy life.
And to boot, you're not only just grinding this out, with a family and doing what you're doing, just dominating, but you're also doing it while you're also dealing with a medical condition.
Yeah, definitely.
With a heart condition. I mean, I think, the way I say it is, it's got to take a lot of heart to be able to go into this industry, dominate it the way you do, manage a family and that whole deal, and doing it while dealing with some medical things as well. So
I tell you, man, the heart condition is one of my strongest memories of it, and I actually appreciate it now. Appreciated it then because immediately got me up off my butt and got me going, because my dad flew in town from California when I had the first heart attack, and because I had two of them, he flew in when I had the first one, and he came to basically check on me. One of my uncles stopped by, and then a few hours later, another one of my uncles stopped by, and he said, man, at least you had a good run in the car business, and all I heard was the word had. He said, at least you had a good run in the car business. Like, I think I'm gonna quit.
No, you're coming back bigger and stronger, swinging, definitely. And just mauling them down. So you brought with you, this was March?
Yeah, March of 2021. I actually always bring one with me when I come to a podcast.
Yeah. How many of these do you have? 12 times 5 years, 12 times 7 years. I'm willing to bet you got one for every month.
I can tell you, it's been 5 months that I've been in the car business that I wasn't salesman of the month. 5 months.
Wow.
The first one was the month I was in.
The first month you were in.
Yeah. 3 of the months was while I was at Poinka Nissan. A guy named Kevin Robez, really good grinder too. He's really good with it. Yeah. But before that, it was actually at the car store. A buddy of mine, TJ Bryan, I don't know if you know him, but he was a car salesman, and he got me every single March. And we always went back and forth about it, but I said, man, you only got me because I was on vacation.
Yep. So Cedric, as we're getting pretty close here to the end of this episode, I want to turn it over to you. If there's anything that you want to share on the show for anybody who's maybe in the market for a vehicle, so on and so forth, where you'd like them to go, where they'd like to have them follow you, so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely. So, not just if you're in the market for a car, but if you're in a position where you want to build your credit, you're looking for a house, anything like that of the nature that revolves your credit, give me a call. My number is 443-944-3440. You can check my Facebook out at Cedric Armwood. I'm sorry, I changed that. We'll talk about that too. It's Cedric Pohanka Armwood, and the reason I changed that is because I learned something else about marketing, that when you put your middle name on Facebook, it moves you back up closer to the top, as when people search, that's what they see. So at Pohanka, my brother has the middle name Pohanka. It's a couple guys. I told them what it was, so they did it. Yeah. But anyway, mine's is Cedric Pohanka Armwood, so it pops up first. Anytime you search Pohanka, you're also going to see Cedric Pohanka.
Yeah, my man. So you're dominating anybody that's even, if they're looking for Cedric, they're looking for Pohanka. They're looking to forget their credit. I love the guerrilla marketing style there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. But yeah, so definitely anybody listening, definitely go check them out. If you're in the car industry, I'd recommend that you take a look at them. I would imagine you probably get people following you from all over the place.
That's another thing I actually do. Any salesman that's willing to learn, if they're getting fresh started into it, I don't mind showing anybody anything. Yep. And I forget who said the quote, but basically, if you help enough people get exactly.
Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, what's the quote?
One of my favorites. If you help enough other people get what they want in life, you have everything that you want.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I want.
Yep, absolutely.
I think that's all anyone wants.
Yeah. Well, Cedric, I appreciate you coming on. This is the type of episode that I made this show for. Me being in the marketing world, I wanted to have a platform that allowed businesses to kind of learn from other people, especially in their market, here locally, to hear what it is that they're doing to be so successful. You being an individual that went into the car industry, absolutely dominated it. And I'm sure that there's people that in this market have been in the car industry for a lot longer than you. And, you come in and you're doing That has to be. I'm willing to bet that's probably a record of Pohanka, 26 million. I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that record is, but I know. It's 3 records I actually set this year. One being 21 cars in one day. This is
21 in one day.
Yeah.
I bet that there's people that are selling 21 in a year or 21 in a month. 21 in one day.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how it happened. I before me selling 21 in one day, it was 9 in one day. But I had a friend of mine from high school call me out. Was like, "Hey, I need to buy a few Elantras." And when they came and approached me with it, I'm like, "Well, 10 cars, cool. I can figure that out." Yep. But I got to the point where I just sold it on them and made it sense. This is why you should buy 20.
Yeah.
They bought 20. I sold 1 extra car that day.
One extra was just a throw in.
Yeah. So 21 in a day, 86 in a month, and 600 in a year.
Yeah. But just going back to it, I mean, I wanted to create this as a platform for business owners, for entrepreneurs, for other sales professionals, for them to learn from individuals that have been where they are and where they're trying to go. But also for individuals that, they might be that manager at McDonald's, and they're looking for the right path or the right structure, and sometimes they just need to see, that somebody else has done it, that they took the risk, that they listened to the DVD, or they looked at the opportunities within the companies that they are currently in and tried to excel there, and then applied those principles at the next place. And next place. That's how my career has always been. When I worked at 84 Lumber, I remember I started at the counter, and then my goal was, I kind of wanted to leave. I wanted to leave that job, but I was like, if I become a co-manager, it'll just look better on my resume. So I'm going to work to get to that position. And then I was like, I want to leave this, but I think it'll look better if I'm manager. So, within 2-3 years, I was the manager of a store, and it was just always, how do you get to that next plateau? Just because I didn't go to college, so I was just looking for those things. Like, what are the things that you need to do and apply? Like, what's that, added work ethic that you need to apply just to go the next step and,
Yeah, a lot of it, sometimes it can just simply be fear. A lot of people, you can't be scared to go after what you want. I'll just say that.
For sure.
There's a guy, because the way you were talking about this specific subject, there's a guy at Pohanka named Johnny Thompson. Really good. He was a state trooper. And the craziest part is he just took the job on at Pohanka in sales, left being a state trooper, and he's the number 2 guy at Pohanka Toyota. And it's just, sometimes you just got to be in the right environment also. I would say that, coming to work at Pohanka, man, I love my job so much, man. Yep. Like, there's a lot to do with you actually loving what you do. You know, when you go to working, it doesn't feel like work. Yep. You're happy to be there. Like, if Pohanka, don't want it inside my house. If Pohanka was my house though, like, I would feel like I was at home. That's how I feel like when I go to work. Like, I really enjoy it. I love it. I love the people I work with. The owner, Sandy, like, I work with some phenomenal people, man. And it's a blessing to be there. Even the stories you catch coming through there, where someone was in life and where they're at now and how they're doing it. And I love it. I love it overall.
Good. Well, Cedric, I appreciate you coming on. The only last and final question. I know I said I was landing this plane about 5 minutes ago, but I just, there's too much freaking fire in this microphone. Last question I have for you. I want to know where you got these glasses.
I actually got them from a buddy of mine, Lorraine. He actually owns a optical shop, and a luxury optical shop called the Look Optics. Yeah, right on the South Salisbury Boulevard. Yeah.
Well, hey, tell him your boy Joe at Lava Hot. If he wants to throw him a pair, he'll wear them on the show. Yeah. Give him a shout out.
So much fire, you got to block it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cedric, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely want to have you on again in the future, just because I'm curious to see what this next year brings. And
I break another record so I can come out.
I'm willing to bet you got plaques on plaques, and I'm willing to bet you're going to break some more records. So
yeah, definitely.
So hats off to you. And thanks for coming on.
Definitely, man. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Lava Hot Podcast with Joseph Connell Jr. Do you want to level up your business in 2022? Then visit us at golavahot.com for a free marketing analysis.